Yo, what's going on, guys? So in this episode of Ableton Basics, we're going to be talking about distortion, mainly Ableton stock distortions, what they do, why to use them, and when to use them. It's going to be a short episode, sweet and simple. Let's jump in. Alright, so jumping into Ableton, there are two different types of distortion that kind of come stock with Ableton, and they're the two that we'll go over in this kind of episode of Ableton Basics. So let's take a look at them. We go into audio effects, and down here we have our overdrive and our saturator. So what's the difference between overdrive and saturation? One is overdriving the sound. It's a kind of nasty, gritty. Let's do this on the vocal. Let's give that some gain.
We go hide away in daylight. We go undercover, wait up the sun. Got a secret side in plain sight.
So overdrive is that kind of more distortion that you'd recognize. It's the very gritty, textural, almost sounds like it's bit crushing stuff, and then really kind of driving into it.
We go hide away in daylight. We go undercover, wait up the sun.
And then the second type of kind of distortion is saturation, and the easiest way for me to explain this, it's cleaner and it sounds like it's making stuff scream. It sounds like it's making stuff shout. It's not distorting it and kind of wrecking the sound. It's a very kind of clean, just like it's emphasizing the sound.
We go hide away in daylight. We go undercover, wait up the sun. Got a secret side in plain sight. Where the streets are empty, that's where we...
That's kind of doing the same thing, but again, it's not.
We go hide away in daylight. We go undercover, wait up the sun.
It's still screamy rather than...
We go hide away in daylight.
I guess that's the only one other than kind of...
We go hide away in daylight. We go hide away in daylight.
That's a lot more aggressive. So overdrive is for kind of really distorting sounds, whereas saturation is for making them scream, making leads pops, making vocals pop. It's kind of a more subtle, not overdone.
We go hide away in daylight.
It's cleaner, and if you want to make something pop, make it sparkle, make it shout a bit more, saturation is the thing for you. Hard curve, I guess, is the closest thing you're going to get to an overdrive type of distortion. But this is the one that makes stuff pop, and this is the one that crumples shit. So what's it really doing? Let's chuck an EQ after one of these two. So right here we have a pure sine wave, so like that. We'll go up an octave. As you can see, there's the kind of main harmonic of the sine wave. Then you have all these kind of minor harmonics that also add to the sound, but really a sine wave is a pure tone on one harmonic. So what saturation does, and what most kind of distortion units will do, is add extra harmonics into a sound, just like so. So as you can see, there's the main tone, and all these other ones have started to come in. They were kind of already there in the sine wave, not as pronounced. But that's essentially what distortion is. It's adding extra harmonics at different intervals that are all kind of in tune. It's picking frequencies and distorting them. So why would you use distortion? Distortion is a creative effect, like I said, for either making sound a bit more kind of crunchy, a bit more gritty, a bit more kind of distorted, if you want a lead to not be as clean, chuck some distortion on there, chuck some overdrive on there, make it sound a bit more gritty, play with that dry wet to get that crunch, to get that more aggressive sound out of whatever you're trying to make from clean to nasty. And saturation makes stuff pop, makes lead sparkle, makes things shout that bit extra. If we grab a silent lead, yeah, we'll do a silent because there are playing presets, anything, what we got. So if I wanted to make this sound more crunchy, I'd get some overdrive, it's gone from sounding weak, like it has no oomph behind it, to sound like it's got a bit more power, it's got some more harmonics, it sounds grittier because all those kind of sub-harmonics are being boosted up and being more pronounced. It sounds meaty. Whereas, like I said, overdrive, I mean, saturation is more like making things scream without the grit. So compare the two. One is much more gritty, much more kind of harmonically textured, much more pushed, and this one is pretty much the same sound, just boosted. Sounds like it has just a lot of drive behind it. Hard curb seriously pushes stuff. He just makes stuff scream. So how to use it, I've been saying the kind of two things over and over in this video. If you want a lead to sound like it's screaming more, chuck some saturation on it. If you want a lead or a vocal to sound like it's got a bit more crunch, like it's a bit too clean and you want some kind of rough edges in it, go for some overdrive. Overdrive and or kind of distortion really is that simple. It takes a clean sound to sounding nasty, either by crunching it or making it shout and kind of pushing it a bit. Saturation's that easy. Most of them have a kind of dry wet knob. It's play around. If you overdo it and saturate everything, you're gonna have way too many harmonics in your mix. But if your mix sounds like it's missing kind of some crunch, some texture, chuck a little bit of saturation, overdrive, any kind of distortion on that, and it's done. It sounds nice. It doesn't sound too over the top. Saturation, distortion, simple, easy, they're not, yeah. So that was Ableton's kind of stock distortions, overdrive and saturation. Overdrive is a crunchy distortion, makes stuff sound nowhere near as clean as before when you put it on, and saturation makes stuff shout. They really are kind of the two things that it makes them do. It's a hard video to make and try and stretch out to be any longer than it needs to be. But really, that's what they do. Overdrive makes stuff sound gritty by making it sound gritty. I don't know all the technical stuff. That's just what it does. That's just what it does. And saturation makes stuff sound more shouty. Use them wisely. Don't use them too much. Make stuff shout. Make stuff sound less clean. You'll be surprised how many sounds just sound too clean and you want to make them a bit more rougher or a bit more shouty. Play with it, don't overdo it. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.